Hey you guys, this is a family-friendly channel, by which I mean I talk about adult stuff, but I promote families. I love children, I love relationships, I love personal development, education, and fitness. And when people come along with manosphere talking points, they're actually often spreading the opposite message. And I end up blocking them. I don't like to block people, but I didn't have to block this gentleman today who said something in a comment that was, why would I want to raise another man's ejaculation? Now, I get when a man says, I would rather date a woman who has no children and start my own family. Fine. We all have preferences. However, referring to a child as another man's ejaculation to me just sounds very evil, cold, hating of children. And there are people who hate children because they had a bad childhood. They hate themselves. How can you hate children? I don't get it. I would date a guy with children any day of the week. My ex-husband's new wife has children. They're grown, but they're part of his life, and her grandchildren, because he has a big heart and he's a real man. He has a big heart and he's a real man. So I don't allow, I'm just saying, you can disagree with me, but I will not allow anyone to talk down about children, to talk down about me, to put me down. Like, it has to feel like another positive message. It struck me as odd that he thought of a child. A child is beautiful. I love seeing children in the store. I see moms in the store with their little kids and my heart just melts and I just smile at them. I once had an 18-year-old student live with me for a year. I treated her the same as my own daughter. The woman who got me interested in coaching, her name is Lisa A. Romano. She specializes in helping women who are attracted to narcissists. After her divorce from her husband, she went through several bad relationships until she married the man she is with now, and he loves her children, all of them. There's a country western song about, I don't know, I don't remember the name of the song, but he talks about how he was a little boy with his mom and his dad had left, and then his mom started dating this man, and how this little boy fell in love with the dad, and the dad became his dad. He started calling him dad one day. I mean, that's love. That's love, you guys. I can see not wanting to date someone who's got a woman who's got trauma or baggage or a bad relationship with her ex. Children are not baggage. Children are a blessing, you guys. And so for me, this is personal. I think that anyone saying anything about women being worthless as they're older or someone making disparaging remarks about children, I have to block them. I have to respond to every comment or it keeps showing up. So I was trying to respond in a way to just let him know I didn't like that comment, and he just kept coming back with it. So I had to block him. Another story comes to mind. There was a man I was working with in coaching appointments a few years ago, and he had no children of his own. His wife had died, and he met this other woman online, and she had a son under 10 years old. Let's say he was 8 or 9 or 10, something like that. And he fell in love with that boy, and that boy fell in love with him because they had things in common that they liked doing. And the boy kept saying, Mom, when is, Jack coming over? We're going to do this thing together that we both like to do, which happened to be some musical thing, let's say. And the man said, I love this woman and I love this boy. I've never been a dad. This is such a great opportunity. That's what healthy men say. Now, I, as a woman, I would totally date a guy with kids or little kids. I love kids. But when men hate kids and make comments about hating kids and call them an ejaculation mistake or an ejaculation burden that another man put on me, it's kind of a turn off. By the way, this whole thing about my ejaculation is a very recent event in human history. It turns out that until the agricultural age, 10,000 years ago, we lived in tribes and there was no ownership. People didn't even know who got them pregnant. And it was all about survival. So whereas I think only 40% of men were fathers or 40% were not, something like that. Everybody worked together. Everybody raised the kids. Everybody gathered the food or hunted and shared with everyone. There was no concept of my sperm, my child. So the men who are saying that that's part of our DNA, they're lying and they're misinformed. Children were always a gift and required. The one thing Hillary Clinton said, which I agree with, the only thing is it takes a village. And it does, and it always took a village. It's very hard raising children alone in a nuclear family. So children have always been a gift that was raised by the entire tribe. And men contributed to the whole tribe. Women contributed to the whole tribe. This ownership thing, this selfish thing, this thing of my sperm, my child. I will not love children unless it came out of my sperm. Your children, it's so stupid. The children don't give a fuck. Children are just like these closest to angels that you can have. They're not resentful. They're very loving. They want mentors, and they look up to adults who care about them. And they will give you quick feedback if they don't feel safe with you. They are such a blessing and an expansion of the heart. I don't care if they came out of my body or your body or her body. Now, what I do care about is if I was dating someone whose child had emotional behavioral issues because she was a bad mom, fine. Don't date women whose children have issues. You don't have to take that on. Or if she has a jealous ex that's going to keep coming around, you don't have to take that on. But this whole blanket statement of children are a burden and an ejaculation mistake of another man is, it's repulsive to me, and it's cold and it's rigid. So anyone leaving comments like that, I'm going to block. In fact, when your heart is open and you meet the right woman, you're not going to care that she's got 1 or 2 children. She's going to be a blessing to your life, and so will those children. So here's my invitation. Those of you who say children are a burden, I would never date a woman with children, who talk like that guy, the Manosphere Talking Points, I will invite you to see where your hatred of children comes from. Do you hate yourself when you were a child? Do you love your own little boy inside, your own little girl inside? A lot of people who don't want children have not made peace with their own childhood. And I think there's a lot of self-hatred. How could you not love children? But maybe that's just my personal preference, and this is my channel. So if you're for violent porn or you're for hating children, this is not a channel for you to leave comments on. You can watch silently. Because I want people who are nice and loving, and how could you not love children? I'm a mom and I'm a grandma. I love my kids and my grandkids. I can't see how anyone would ever speak of them as being in those terms. It's just so cruel. Open your hearts, people. Open your hearts. That's all I want to say.